I'll get ridiculed for this a little bit. Part of school for me is just the social aspect of it. I think that there's so many things that we have to teach our kids
But are we taking the burden off of what the school's job is to do?
Yes.
And we have now started shifting the direction of what we think is okay. No, that's not okay.
I think that most of the education has to come from home, and we just have to teach parents how to be able to teach their kids how to live life.
I agree.
You agree with that?
I agree that
Most people don't have the ability to solve problems. Whenever two things come together hard for in their life, they just like fold and break, and then they end up on Skid Row out there wondering why nothing happened right in their life because they don't know how to solve problems. Other people,
That was a little dramatic. I mean,
I'm saying we have to go dramatic so we can have people understand it. But
you went
have
from
to,
not figuring out a math problem to all of a sudden on Skid Row.
I did. I just gotta
Skid Row.
see. I'm gonna
But
be
if
homeless on Skid
if
Row.
you think about it, some of the people that are out there, you're like, what happened? And it was like they got to a point where they could not solve the problems in their life, so they just threw in the towel and gave up.
I've been spending time in the dojo, doing all the things that they won't show. No spotlights on me, no photos, becoming the king on the low level.
Decent.
What do we think about topics? I'm kind of thinking just, do we talk about Thanksgiving? Do we talk about the issues of getting family together?
Yes, I think we can go into all of
that'll
that.
be fun.
You know, you and I, we all moved to Texas around the same time, but then also too, just having not having family come into town. Do you now, like for myself, I have to travel there for every holiday, and it's expensive. And you find yourself not wanting to really travel anymore. You know, you're like, okay, look, I just feel comfortable just being home, man.
And then what do you guys do for? Because it's Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing both.
Okay.
I was just talking to somebody just now, and I like it's hard for me with Christmas. You guys still have young kids, so it's still exciting to run downstairs and see the the presents under the tree. And for my kids, I'm like, I told them a couple years ago, I was like, well, I'm not buying you guys presents for Christmas, because we went past the Santa Claus and everything like that.
They found out Santa's not real.
Even though they enjoyed it, because they were like, we know it's dad, but we'll play along with you, dummy. Okay.
Yeah.
So they played along with it. They played along with the what is it, Elf on the Shelf thing. They
We did Elf on
used
the
to
Shelf.
love
We're still
that.
doing that, yeah.
And now I told them a couple years back, I was like, listen, I don't want to buy you guys presents, because I don't want Christmas and everything to be about presents anymore. I said, let's think of something else. So what we did is we adopted a family before, or we do Christmas time. We do we try to do like a little mini vacation or something like that, because I always told them, I was like, man, it's about let's change what it is. If you guys really want something, we talk about it. If it makes sense, I get it for you. If it's something that doesn't make sense, I don't want to get it for you. So basically, at Christmas time, what can I get you? I mean, it's not the time to do that anymore for my kids. And so we like to adopt a family and look at vacations, and not vacations, but holidays as here's a time we can get together with family and slow things down. So
Yeah, Christmas is really just kind of became like about the wants and not really the needs. And that's the problem. Like for myself, I think since, I don't know, probably like the last, I'd say 10 years, even when I didn't have kids, I was thinking even longer than that. I'm like thinking to myself, why am I going to go out and buy gifts for like my aunts and my cousins? And I'm like, they already have everything they need pretty much. And if they want it, they can buy it themselves. It's just about spending time together and being there. And, you know, I used to put so much thought and like, okay, I'd be at the mall. Remember when the malls were the thing, right? You show up at the mall, you'd be there for like, you'd be there
Terrible.
every day for a week, going back and visiting what you thought you wanted to get people. And then just realizing, I think after doing all that for so many years, I'm like, man, there's got to be more to this. And it can't just be about what you're buying people. It just wasn't fun anymore.
You're exactly right. And call me Scrooge, but I'm not a big Christmas guy for that reason, though, because of that stress and that anxiety around the pressures of gifting and just scrambling and all that. That's why I like Thanksgiving most. It's my favorite holiday, because it's pure. It's just football and food, right? You're not right. You're not worried about, what did I get this person? Is this what they want? So we've also switched to trying to move away from gifts and into experiences and trips.
Yeah.
We feel like that's gonna, you will always have those memories, and we're seeing toys and stuff from last Christmas that stopped getting played with like months ago, right? So I'm tired of getting clutter around the house. I think experiences and different things like that we'll have as a family are kind of what we're trying to achieve.
I can't remember where I saw it, but there was a study that said like when you go into your kid's playroom, like I go into my kid's playroom, like they don't play with any of this. And they said when you give, the more gifts you give, the more toys you give to your kids, the less creative they are, because now they can't think of new ideas. Like I went shopping yesterday because we're doing like a Friendsgiving, which, everyone was invited. But, so we,
already, huh?
so
It's early for that.
it's what, like 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning. Yeah. But I've got 2 boxes out there from Costco that we bought, and the kids have been taping them up and trying to make a train out of them. And I've got $300 toys that are inside their playroom that are just sitting there, and they've been sitting there. Yeah. The only time that Pac-Man and that pinball machine get used inside that playroom is when other kids come over. That's it. They never turn that thing on. They never play it. I'm just like, man, what crazy part is I bought the Pac-Man game. It's a full arcade one, and I bought it at Costco. And now I see that they make a mini version for like a fraction of the cost. And I'm almost like, Costco takes everything back. I'm literally about to just pack it up and be like, hey, I don't want this anymore. Just give me a thing back, on it. It's taking up the whole corner of the room. It's like it only comes over when Ollie comes over, Kellen and him will play, and then that's it. They're done.
I get it.
That's the whole thing. It's the creativity goes out the door. Watching my son and my daughter yesterday push each other around in cardboard boxes in the house, like literally trying to race it and see how fast they could push each other around the corner, running into the walls, banging their heads. Yes. I mean, I know it seems kind of like, oh man, what are you doing to your kids? I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. That's the best thing you can do for them.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The simple things, right? Same. My kids do the same thing because you come back from Costco, and when you unload all the groceries and stuff, I'm about ready to throw them away, and they're like, "No, give it to us. We're gonna play with it." And I think the same thing. Like, what do you mean? You got all these expensive toys here. Yeah. You want the cardboard boxes?
Well, it's funny because, when you have Christmas, right? Like one of the best parts of Christmas, and one of the things that stick with me the most is after you unwrap all the gifts, there's this big pile of paper. And like me and my cousins used to just jump in it, right? Like we would just hang out and throw paper all over, shred it up as much as we could. Aunts hated it because, my aunts, we were at her house. So she's always like, oh, I'm finding paper 3 weeks later under the couch, in the cushions. But man, we had a blast. And those are one of my, I couldn't tell you what the gift was that I got that Christmas or those Christmases. But I can remember that my cousins and I would play for probably a good 2 hours in the paper. My grandma would be like, okay, look, Auntie needs to clean up now. Or you guys got to clean up now. And we were just shredding up paper. And as soon as we were done shredding up paper, we got kicked outside and we go play football for like 2 hours. So those are the things that I think I remember the most, when it comes to the holiday seasons.
Yeah, I think if you start getting, if I'm going to buy something for my kids, I'm going to buy something that they have to get outside and use. Have to go. So my son, I've talked about this already. I want to get that jug machine for him. I think it's part. I think it brings everyone because the jug machine, when you put the football in it, shoots it at him. So he'll go outside and he'll just play that. That can get him outside. So if there's anything that they need, I'm gonna get it from outside. Because right now it's taking everything away from the fun and everything. Last year my son was wanting to get a electric bike, and I was like, "What? Electric? You pedal? Yeah. Get a regular bike and pedal. Go out there and have fun." I think it's different now. So we're not even thinking about it. My kids are cool with it too, because it was like 3 years ago. I went to Titus O'Neil. Thaddeus from WWE. Yeah. He had a big holiday thing, and he was like, yeah, come down for ours. And when I went down and saw it was crazy. This dude gave away 5 cars, 250 bikes. It was like 500 between Nintendos and PlayStation, the newest ones. And then we went to this big auditorium, the school gym that he had. The bleachers were all the way out. He had toys from the bottom all the way up to the top. I'd never seen anything like this before. Me and my kids were like, holy kid, this is crazy. Titus does so much philanthropy work and working with the community and everything. It was insane what he gave away.
Was this in Florida?
It was in Florida. So at that point, me and my kids were like, they loved it because they had so many families come through. The kids go there and pick out different presents. He was giving cars away. He was telling the stories of the people that he was giving cars away. You know, mothers, single mothers that couldn't make it to the bus and was just struggling, and how many lives he touched. My kids are like, done. I don't need a $500 PlayStation 5 anymore.
Yeah.
This is more important.
Yeah, there's a story. What was it? First, let me go back to the giveaways. Like I used to work for, not work, but I did a lot of charity work with Turning Wheels for Kids. Because what was the number one thing when you were younger? Remember how cool it was? Like, what did you want for Christmas? What was the first thing you ever really, really wanted?
Bike.
A bike. Yeah. And so I think I did like 6 or 7 years with Turning Wheels for Kids, something like that, during the Strike Force days. You know, it was pretty much that whole time Strike Force was around. I was doing Christmas stuff for them. They were an amazing organization. You know, and I remember basically you show up on Thanksgiving, like Thanksgiving Day or morning, and then you basically just help put together, you know, close to 3,000-4,000 bikes, and they were just giving them away. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. And then they had like Sharky was there from the San Jose Sharks, myself, a couple like other soccer players that were there. Brady Chastain, she was there. We'd always do like tricycle races, like inside the warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
And people, obviously the media was there and stuff, but it was hilarious, man. We'd have like a 3 heat race. You know, and they'd always put, you know, us separately until we got to the finals, and we'd try and race. It was awesome. We had a great time, and, you know, it normally ended up on the news and just showed how good it was to like give back. And it was something I think that as we get older, we start having your kids be part of, especially like in this age right now where Ollie and Kellen are, is in that 10, 11, 12, just letting them know like you really don't need much. We already give you everything you need throughout the year. You ask for it. If you need it, I'll buy it for you. I found myself looking at like Kellen. Kellen had this thing just recently at his school. It was where you go to when at school they have like it was like a dinosaur type museum, and you show up and they have like little artifacts that they have found. You can buy them. Well, there was this megalodon tooth that was like $500, and I show up and he's like, "I want this tooth." I'm like, "Son, it's in this frame like this, and the tooth's like this big." And I'm like, "I'm not buying you a megalodon tooth to hang in your wall for $500. Just, it's not going to happen. It's just not. It's not." So once he got over that he couldn't have that, he had no idea what he wanted. He just started going through like, "I want this. I want this." And he's like, "Well, what about this?" I said, "You get one thing. Pick one." He couldn't pick. I said, so my conversation with him was, "You're really just trying to buy something to buy something. And if you don't need it, you don't need it. What are you going to do with it?" "Put it in my room." Okay. I've got a $600 lacrosse helmet that's just sitting on your wall in your room. You don't even use that one. Yeah. You use your other one that I bought you, the more recent one. So now I've got, you've got 3 helmets now in 2 of them are in your room. That's a total of almost $1,000. It's just sitting there.
Does he understand what that means?
Yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there, I think. I don't think he can't quite wrap his head around what $1,000 is. Like I remember when I was younger, I was like, I thought everything was, oh yeah, I can just buy that house for $100. Right. No, yeah. So he hasn't, like, I think he understands the $100 because I've started having him help me now write tips for when we go out to dinner. Like, "Hey man, we were at sushi, sushi was super cheap compared to like California, but it was, $110 for 4 of us to eat, which is insane. Like normally in California, it's like $190, $200. So just showing them how to write tips, show them, hey, we give usually about this percentage, trying to break down the percentage to him and that. But anyways, just getting him to wrap his head around the fact that like you have almost $1,000 worth of lacrosse helmets in your room that you're not even using. So what are we doing with it? And you've got another $500 helmet inside your bag that, you use consistently. Just getting them to understand that you don't really need, back to the megalodon tooth thing, though, is you don't need it. You were really forcing yourself to want to buy something. And he just couldn't make a decision. I said, "You don't need it then. You don't need it."
Yeah.
Whereas his sister, she walked right up. She's like, "I want that pink thing right there." And I was like, "Okay, cool. That's what you want." It was like $4. She didn't care.
We can do that.
And then I was like, "How about this one over here? How about this?" She's like, "Nope, that one." So she was she knew exactly what she wanted. She didn't budge on it after she got it. She didn't care about anything else that was out there.
Nope,
didn't care. Nope. I'm like, all right, cool. That's what you want. Her, on the other hand, my son was all over the place. I want this. Oh, maybe I want this. Oh, maybe I want, like, you don't know what
You
you
don't
want.
have to spend the money.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't.
That's,
It's okay to not spend the money.
yeah. Yep.
That's that learning point. And I wanted to segue into this because we can talk about holidays and everything as much as we want, but teaching our kids, because something like that is important. I had a conversation last week. Me and MVP were going at it, and we were talking about, like, it's so important for us to teach our kids financial literacy and everything else. So across the board. So he was saying this, and I just wanted to hear what you guys' opinion on it. He was so adamant about schools teaching our kids the things that we need to know. And what I got on him about is, I was saying, we can't rely on the schools to teach our kids almost
Anything.
anything. We have to almost teach our kids, because I'll get ridiculed for this a little bit. Part of school for me is just the social aspect of it, and having kids understand that we all live together, and it's almost like a small world there, and they're dealing with like friends and hierarchy and all these different things like that. So I think that's more important with school, because I think it's our responsibility to kind of teach our kids things.
That's
Even
not-
something as small as that. I think that there's so many things that we have to teach our kids, because, like, your son, $500 for this. He's not going to go to school and they're going to teach him the value of something like this, understanding what $500 is. I don't think he's going to learn anything like that. Maybe all the way when he's in college, possibly, but all the way through high school, go through. And if your parents get it for you, then, that's cool. But you don't really understand financial literacy. You don't understand so many different things. And I think that it's so important that the parents are teaching their kids these things.
But are we taking the burden off of what the school's job is to do by saying something like that? Like, you're saying, like, oh, I'm just using it for basically small groups so they can learn to work within a business. That's not what school was created for. School was created for them to educate our children, and we pay taxes so they do that.
Yes. But
And we have now started shifting the direction of what we think is okay. No, that's not okay. I think we need to get back to what school was about. School is about educating our children to do math, read, write, be literate, like all these things that will help make them a better human within our society.
okay.
And look, I think when I left school, I didn't know how to write a check. That pissed me off. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I was 17 years old. My grandmother had to take me down and show me how to open a bank account.
Sure.
Which is fine. You can do that on your own, like, because there's someone there to help you, show you how to open a bank account. But learning how to write a check, I never learned how to write a check, and I had a checkbook. I'm like, okay, what do I do with these? I didn't, at that young age, at 17 years old, 16 years old, I say it's young, but it's actually not. Some of these kids are 10, 11, 12 years old, making millions of dollars now on social media,
Of course.
and all they know is this: tap the card, not realizing that money goes out every single time.
Okay. I agree with you a little bit, but I still think that, so if you look at one teacher, look at how much they're getting paid first off, which is grossly underpaid. And then on top of that, if I go to my kids' school and they have 5 hours, so that one teacher has 5 hours, she has 20 kids in each one of her classes. She cannot be able to educate 100 kids that day to get what they need to learn moving forward. So I always look at school as, I want the education system to teach my kid how to think, not what to think, because everything that they're teaching them is basically practice for their mind to be able to learn how to think through situations. And then it takes the parents to be able to explain these situations to them so they can be able to implement what they learned in school. Because it's so hard, man. It's so hard. Because, like, we were in the argument that we were going through last week, it was financial literacy. And it was teaching kids how to understand money and how to be able to, everything from balance a checkbook to know where they're going and know how to put money in different areas and stuff and going forward. And when we were having this conversation, it seemed like we were butting heads so much. And he was like, the schools need to teach it. We need to get the schools prepared to be able to teach it and teach it and teach it and teach it. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, listen, I've been working out with a bunch of you guys for over a couple of years, grown men. And I've been teaching them, like, with athletes just have money and they spend money. So I'm like, we got to get into like real estate. We have to go into oil and gas, all these different things that I'm doing, and I'm trying to get them to do it, and none of them will do it. So I was like, if I can't get you guys to do it, how do you think that they can get the kids to do it? Because if you try to teach kids something and they go home, oh, mom, they taught me about investing in so-and-so, and the parents aren't doing it, then it doesn't work, or you're not going to get that backup. So I think it's better to teach the parents financial literacy and then have the parents teach their kids. It's hard because a lot of parents don't get that time with their kids. But I mean, education is going to have to come from parents across the board. Because if you think about it, when you get later on in life, you're probably going to be around where your parents were, or around, as far as like, if you start out in a lower income area, you're probably going to learn how to work a job and kind of be in that same struggle. Whereas kids that are more wealthy and their parents are teaching them like, hey, you got to invest, and you see all these different things, those kids are going to take that route. So I think that most of the education has to come from home, and we just have to teach parents how to be able to teach their kids how to live life and how to do things. And we can't rely on the schools.
I agree.
You agree with that?
I agree that the parents and what goes on at home is equally as important to support
absolutely.
What's going on
Absolutely.
at the schools. Because I believe we've talked about this before. You know, there's a lot of things that, you know, we've talked about the value of college. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Like, what are you learning in college? A lot of those things you learn in college, even at that point, and the same with high school, by the time you get to the real world and start working, and everything you learned almost isn't applicable except for being responsible.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah. Finishing something that's tough. That's really what it is.
I can be dependable. I can show up on time. I will listen. I will do my job, and I have integrity. But like, as you mentioned, just I go to school to memorize a bunch of random facts that will not be useful when I get older. That's not, to me, that's not education.
But that's where I feel like we're having a miscommunication here. The school's job is to educate them. I don't care if they teach them history. I want them to teach them science. I want to teach them math and English. That's all I want my kids to learn to do. So, you know, if you want to do econ, you want to do like any of like business, you want to teach them business structure. Absolutely. That's what their job is to do. Like I think we've gotten away from that. We're just now going to go ahead and let these schools off the hook and be like, no, I'll take care of everything at home now. Why do you think so many parents are homeschooling now? They've lost faith in the system.
But what are they teaching them? What do you want them to teach your kids? That's why I say
how to open a checkbook. Maybe how to
that as a class.
Maybe that's what my point is that you're shifting and going, hey, like, but that could be part of math. Like, look, here's a checkbook. Here's how you open a bank account. This is how much money you have in it. That's part of structuring your kids. They should be learning that literally in like 10 years old.
Do we do that anymore?
No, we didn't do that back then.
As adults,
do we do what?
Like balance a checkbook.
Yeah, you probably don't now because we're okay. But people that actually are struggling every day absolutely are balancing a checkbook. Absolutely. We don't now because we can go, look, we have a good idea of what our income is. We're like, okay, look, I can go ahead and tap this card.
There's apps and different things like that.
There is as well, but
budgeting, not balancing a checkbook. That's budgeting, we're talking about budgeting.
Yeah, budgeting.
Okay, budgeting, yeah.
But balancing a checkbook is to people that really need to balance a checkbook that are struggling to get by day to day.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I only have $22 to put in gas. I can't go over $22. I need to put $22 in.
Well, right now, I think for our kids from 6 to 10, school's very critical because this is where they're learning the fundamentals. You know, reading, writing, arithmetic. Like those things are essential.
They're learning how to think. They're not learning those.
No, they're learning how to read and write.
Yeah. Okay.
So that
to a certain extent, yes.
But I agree with you. After they develop those skills and they got those down, then what? Right?
Well, I think it's time to learn how to formulate a real sentence. Like these kids now can put together 2 and 3 word paragraphs. That's great. But now, how can you write a summary of a book? Can you formulate your thoughts to wrap like right now, my son's doing this thing called UIL basically, and it's where you have oral presentations. That's one. Two is
I like that.
where you read a book and you basically give an oral presentation on the book as well, or you can do public speaking, which is another one he's doing. So he reads like a 2-page, poem, and then he has to recite it in front of people that are, adults that are judging him to see if he passes to go to the next round.
Yeah.
So he got to the finals last year, lost in the finals, got pretty upset. So he's like, look, I'm going to do it again. So he picked a longer version of this. So anyways, that to me is what I'm talking about.
That's
Learning how to
awesome,
do
yeah.
learning how to do oral reading, learning how to give presentations, public speaking. Those are things at 8, 9, 10 years old, I would have never have done at a young age. That's what they need to be focusing on.
So it's a
getting these
shift.
kids up in front of crowds and going, okay, I put in the work. I know what I've learned. I know what I've read. Now I need to present it to an adult or people in front of me, a group, whether it's a small group of 5 to 10 or a group of, 100. Kellen at his old school at Valley Christian in California, he was giving presentations in front of the whole elementary school, and then he made it to the finals and ended up winning the whole thing in front of the high school, middle school, and elementary school all together. Presentation, oral reading or oral presentation in front of everyone. So he loves that aspect of it all. He hates reading, but he likes the presentation part.
Okay. With that being said, and I'm going to compliment you so you can stay on my side. He's getting a lot of that from you. I see you in him because you're articulate. He sees you. He watches you. He's learning that from me. He's not learning that from his school. He's learning how to think and how to put stuff together. But ultimately, he sees Dad. He sees your podcast. He sees how you speak. Kids learn from their parents. That's what I'm saying. Like across the board, if you,
I never denied that part of it. Like I believe that I've never sat down with him except for like when he first did his oral reading. I was like, hey, this is how I want you to read it in small segments and present it in small segments, and then we put the whole thing together. So you read the first paragraph and learn how to present it, and then you read the second paragraph, learn how to present it, and now the 2 paragraphs together present the whole thing at once. That's teaching him.
You taught him that.
Yes, but I would have never have been given that opportunity had the school not had a structure for him to say, hey, we're having a competition for oral reading. And that's what schools should be about. So now it's the parents' job at home to reinforce what they're teaching them. I think we're letting the schools off the hook on what their job is. Their job is to teach our kids how to do oral speaking, how to present spelling bee. Like I know it seems stupid, the spelling bee. But kids that put the work in for the spelling bee and put them on a large platform on ESPN or whatever network it is on, like that's huge. It's huge for these kids to build their confidence to think later on in life they can do anything, and they can do it in front of millions of people or hundreds of people or 5 people. They can do it. When you walk into a job interview, okay, there's 1 or 2 people that generally there. You need to learn to speak properly. You need to learn to basically present yourself in a proper manner that wants them to hire you. That's the most important part. And I think school can help with that. And there's other ways. There are a lot of other ways that we let school off the hook because we've just accepted the fact that they are now just a big daycare. And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with us paying the amount of money we pay in taxes to our communities just to be considered a daycare. It's an overglorified, long 8-hour long daycare is what it is now.
We gotta work together. I think we just have to work together because what you said is you basically taught your kid. They gave you a structure, so you guys are working together. If you weren't working with them, then it's lost, and it's lost with most kids because most kids expect to get it all from them, but they're not getting it all from the school. I like the fact of, and I say it over and over again, is that I think school is to give my kids. It teaches them how to think. And then I help them as a parent to take that thought process and put it to use. Because teaching them how to think is like I said, I think I told the story before, but a buddy of mine was teaching math, and he was a very intelligent guy. He was teaching math at a middle school, and the kid just got all pissed off. He was like, I don't even know this x plus 2 plus this in quotations and all this equals yx. It doesn't make any sense. And how he broke it down, and I thought it was the best explanation that you could have given a kid. He said, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to teach you how to think. This is problem solving. Because at the beginning, x plus 2 equals 6. We have to figure out what x is. So it's figuring out how to solve a problem. It's not figuring out the X and Y. It's training our brain how to solve problems. So later on in life, when we have these different things, oh, I got to pay bills, I got to be at school, I got to be at work at this time, I got to drop the kids off and everything like that. Most people don't have the ability to solve problems. Whenever two things come together hard for in their life, they just like fold and break. And then they end up on Skid Row out there wondering why nothing happened right in their life because they don't know how to solve problems. Other people,
That was a little dramatic. I mean,
I'm saying we have to go dramatic so we can have people understand it. But
you
you
went
have
from
to,
not figuring out a math problem to all of a sudden on Skid Row.
I
Yeah, I
just
just gotta
Skid Row.
see. I'm gonna
But
be
if
homeless on Skid
but if
Row.
you think about it, some of the people that are out there, you're like, what happened? And it was like they got to a point where they could not solve the problems in their life, so they just threw in the towel and gave up. And it's bad. I mean, I'll go to the extreme with it, but
No, they found drugs. People in Skid Row found drugs. That's what happened to
But
them.
a lot of them just fell off, and it made and they found an easier way to just like say forget everything. And people today, they have so many different issues because this goes back to holidays and comes back to now. Is with holidays, when I found out trying to help people, I found out some people are like this close to just being in a very great situation, but that close puts them in like the worst situation where they're about ready to pop pills, you know. And it's sad because it's like I went to go and try to help a friend of mine out, and she was like in tears, broken down, life's over and everything like that. And then we started looking at her bills. She was literally like, if somebody would have like took $1,000 and put it in to her situation, she could have had everything just like cleaned and everything would have been smooth after that. Because it was like high interest rate here. She's paying this. This is not getting paid down. This trickles over
I
to
disagree
this.
with you. Is that I was watching something that Mighty Mouse was talking about the other day, this whole class action lawsuit with the fighters. If you found yourself broke after your fighting career and you end up getting, $100,000, $200,000 from the settlement, I can almost probably write it all out. The same people that were struggling after fighting will probably be the same people struggling after they get their $100,000 or $200,000. It's
Financial literacy.
yeah, it just has to do with
But you can't teach
being
you can't get that from
financially
schools.
responsible.
You can't
You
get that from schools.
absolutely can.
Look, it's both. I think you have to get, okay, we love our sports conversations. We love our sports analogies. Perhaps this is one way to look at it. Before I've mentioned to you, for baseball, we have 2 team practices a week, right? And then the coaches say, well, we expect you to work on your individual skills on the off time. So the way I see it is school is like our team practices, group learning, right? You're learning from other students. You're having that social interaction. You're doing that. But on the off time, at home is where you're fine tuning these things,
Yes.
right? So if you want to focus more on financial literacy, learning how opening a bank account, is it green
light.
green light, like those things, like they have to be, that's where you introduce that at home. So I think it's both, just like practice. You have your team practice, you have your individual things that you're doing. To me, it's the same thing with learning and education. We have our team learning at school, and then you're supposed to work on fine-tuning things, because there may be things that our kids get into that they love, they find a passion for, that aren't available in school. We're going to have to hone that and develop that at home.
But it's probably gonna be something though too that they get into that we may not even know anything about.
Sure. And
So-
then that's the process where we have to
Yeah.
support them, taking
And
them
learn it.
to, we were just looking at coding. That's expensive.
I have no clue.
But,
I have
like,
no concept. No.
Coding classes, but how, that might be more valuable than any sport they're playing. That might help them get, a serious tech job one day. But those classes are crazy expensive, and I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, I'm saying
But if they had a passion for it, and I know a few kids in our grade that they go to like coding classes 2-3 times a week. Yeah. And so that's where I think you're not going to learn that at school at that level or quite yet, but you're having to do that on your own.
But those are other things that, like, in some schools that are not public schools, they are showing them at a young age, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, because that's when their brain is able to wrap their head around these kind of numbers and figures. And best way to teach them is when they're at a young age. Look, I'm not knocking what you're saying. I believe truly. That we need, as parents, need to do more at home to make sure that our kids are expanding on their education. It can't just be like, hey, the schools are responsible. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe that's the way it's coming across, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that over the last 20 years, we've allowed, maybe even longer than that, we've allowed the schools to skate by with not educating our children on things that matter. We care so much more about all this other crap that's going on, especially in this day and age, that we've gotten away from what's important. And what's important is getting our kids an education in terms of the math, reading, writing. Like we don't do cursive anymore. There's an actual real scientific connection between your kids learning cursive and the way that they learn. Is learning how to chain things together. So when you write cursive, you write your whole word, your brain reads that and actually teaches your brain how to comprehend, how to put things together in like a puzzle piece together or a train together.
So we're training, and that's what I was saying is like the things with
but
schools.
we've gotten away from that now.
You're right.
And that's my point. My point is we've started letting the schools off the hook and we can't. We need to go back to what was like, not back, but I mean, we need to, some things bring back and some things get away from.
But see what you just said right there is with the cursive part. You have to tell them is that because they're thinking we don't need cursive anymore because we don't use it. But you're saying is it's a learning process. They're learning. We're teaching them how to think by using cursive, not teaching them cursive. And I think that's the problem is that everybody thinks that we're trying to teach kids that X plus 2, we have to figure out this. There's a bigger learning process involved outside of it. Mm-hmm. That's why we're doing this. And I don't think the teachers understand that because when they're sitting there getting with kids, they're like, oh yeah, we don't need cursive anymore, but you just explained it in that way to me. And now I'm saying, oh, that makes sense. You're teaching my kids how to think, not teaching them cursive. You're teaching them this is going to help you to train your brain to do this.
Well, I'm going to stick up for the teachers now. That's not the teacher that says we don't need cursive. It's the people above the teacher's pay grade that believes that, like, you know what, we're spending too much time on this. Let's put more emphasis on these other areas.
Sure.
And we've learned over those people at the top have no clue what the hell they're doing.
Sure. But I think it's important for the teachers to know that so that when they're talking to the kids, they can explain it to the kids so the kids can learn a little bit better. Yeah. Because that one kid that my buddy had to talk to, he had to explain to those kids and they go, oh, and if it clicked the light bulb on for one kid, that's enough. Where he told him, it was like, it's not about this. It's about, I'm teaching your brain how to solve problems. That's what life is about, solving problems. Now, when I'm talking about the further stuff of where parents need to learn how to educate their kids is like, we know that 90% of successful people, millionaires or whatever, they have real estate in their portfolio. My kids are never going to learn about that through the school because most teachers do not know anything about it. They don't have anything about it. So this is something that I'm teaching. Like my son knows more about real estate than most real estate agents right now.
There's a school in Texas called Alpha something, and they actually teach your kids how to run real estate at 8, 9, and 10 years old. They actually show them, hey, the school is going to buy an Airbnb. Do you want to buy it or do you want to lease it? Do you want to buy a property? When you buy a property, do you want to Airbnb it or do you want to lease it? They're like, no, we want to Airbnb it. And it says in their news article after the school buys that house that this will be rented out or leased by an 8 and 9 and 10-year-old.
I love it.
So when you call to book up the Airbnb, it says you will be dealing with an 8 and 9 and 10-year-old.
That's great.
So to say that it can't be done is not true.
I think that but that's at one school.
No, but they've got a lot of schools. But yes, I understand what you're saying. But the thing is that school also costs $25,000 a year. But why? Sure. That's my point. Why?
Because they're teaching a profession. They're not teaching kids how to think. And that's what regular schools are teaching kids how to just basically think. They're not because if you look
that's at only one structure. That's only one class of which they're doing. They've got other classes they're doing. That's not teaching them just to do real estate.
So you think that they should implement that into regular school, that curriculum into it? Who's going to teach that? It has to be somebody that did that. Or somebody that knows that.
You mean in this great country, we can't find someone to educate them?
We can. But what I'm saying is I can't teach you something that I don't know. So a teacher, like
Maybe we need to restructure what our teachers need to be qualified in to be teaching our kids.
Well, the teachers that haven't done it, and they're teaching something that they don't know nothing about. Because most of the teachers go through an education degree. In that education degree, they don't get taught skills outside of that, because if they did, then they would be making a lot more money on the side. So they can't go through, and you can't have a teacher that just has a teaching degree teach my kid about real estate
That's not absolutely true, because look, you got econ teachers at Harvard. You think they're the greatest econ people out there? They're doing great investments? Probably not.
They get
paid a lot to be a professor.
They've been in business,
and if they were doing so great, they wouldn't be a professor.
No, hold on, because I had a professor that was very wealthy in the business, and he just came back because he wanted to teach it.
Okay, so you had one. That's good.
No. There's several. there are several teachers at a high level, because it's not like a high school and stuff like that where they have to get a huge schedule. They come for like 1 or 2 classes a week because they want to pass on that knowledge. And that knowledge is important. And it's different in college, because it's not like they have to spend 8 hours a day for 5 days a week to do it. They spend like maybe 2 or 3 hours a week going on passing on that knowledge, because a lot of our professors that came there, they had different businesses that they were just coming in there to just explain their business and help people understand business. Because I went with a business degree, and that's where I really learned it, because the guy that one of my professors, I thought he was phenomenal, and he opened up my eyes to understanding because the one thing he was teaching us about, because he was kind of wrapped up in it, he had an investment group that he was with some of the stadiums, and he kind of broke down how football and beer and the people that own the stadium, how the whole system kind of works. And I was like, damn, I thought this was about football. They were like, no, it's about marketing. And then later on, when I get into WWE, when we started really rolling, I mean,
that's what makes you think that he's a good professor?
No.
He's great in the market? He knows how to sell beer?
No, because he was able to break down the structure of business to us to make it make sense. So going into business, I'm not thinking...
That doesn't make you a good business person, though.
Yes.
No. If he can break it, no.
He was a bit, because if I'm investing into something, I have to know what I'm investing in and how it works, and that's important. Like you can't just say, all right, let's take these numbers together and throw them down, and this is why this happens. It's like there's all kinds of other questions. If you can explain it to me, when he explained it to me on how it worked, I was like, oh, it changed the whole business.
Bobby, how many great wrestling coaches have you had that were never national champs?
Great wrestling coaches that were national.
They were not national champs. Just because they can teach it doesn't mean that they were good.
No. I understand that, but
those who can't teach, there's that old saying, and the reason why they say that is, I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying that saying sticks around because it is true.
Who did you learn how to do your real estate from?
Huh?
One of the biggest real estate people, and who taught you how to get into it?
We did get into it.
And why did?
But wait, I have a
question.
Is one of them good, or is the family good?
It doesn't matter.
Well, yes, it does matter. We're talking about one.
Okay.
We're talking about one teacher.
Who'd you learn it from? Did you learn it from?
I learned from a couple different people, but yes, I get what you're saying.
Yes, so that's important. Now you think somebody
they have a group that makes them good. That's the difference between.
But you understand the business. If you never went into that business, they couldn't teach you that.
But it took a group to do it, though.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying if somebody did not do nothing with real estate, they just saw it, they can't pass that information on, because once we start asking questions, they would not be able to answer it.
What I'm saying though is that you're correlating that with a professor or a teacher. I'm saying that not all professors and teachers, not all high school wrestling coaches and college wrestling coaches were national champs. Doesn't mean because they teach it that they know how to actually do it. Sure. That's my point.
Sure. And sometimes people that become successful don't know how to teach what they learned. But
most of them don't actually.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, as far as going up in school, there's certain things that our kids need to be able to know, or we want our kids to know. And I don't think the regular run-of-the-mill teacher that's going through, that just gets a teaching degree and comes through, I don't think they can teach them those things.
But okay, so what I originally said was maybe it's time to change that. It's time to get these teachers to start focusing on something that will help make our kids more successful in life. Not just, look, obviously we understand the elementary school, like Rich was saying. This is the building blocks
for
your kids as they get older. But when they get to middle school and high school, They need to start learning how to buy an Airbnb or buy a house and leasing it and renting it, making sure that that the lawn care is taken care of, making sure the trash bill is paid. Like, these people have no idea how to hook up, call your water company and say, hey, how do I turn my water on? Like, that's what my point is. Like, you're talking about real estate. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter if I buy the house. I still have to know how to run it.
Right.
I've got to learn how to hook up the electrical, the water. If there's a pool company, having them come out and service the pool, a lawn company, or unless they're going to mow their own lawn, who's paying for the water bill? Me? Or do I want to make sure the water bill is paid? Because if I have renters in there, if they don't water it, I got to put the grass back in after they're gone because they're not going to water it. These are all things that.
So there's gonna. So
and
you're
this is just
saying
one aspect of it all.
Right. But so you're saying in elementary, it's okay to just have the basics.
Absolutely.
But when you start getting to middle school and everything like that, it turns into
because I go back
trades.
I go back to the Stanford study of being like, hey, you start giving your kids too much work and not enough play. It affects their learning when they get into 6th and 7th and 8th and high school year because it becomes overwhelming. They just get burnt out. They're like, okay, look, I'm done. I'm not saying you don't educate them. I'm saying that we spend half the time learning. We spend the other half, maybe even more than half, playing, learning how to socialize. Like you had originally said, I send my kids there to learn how to socialize, understand the hierarchy, like basically learn to work in small groups, learn to play on my own. Like that's what you sent them there for during those years. Middle school and high school, nuh-uh. We're here to actually educate you to become adults that can function in society without fucking shit up.
Then I think a way to kind of counter that is not counter it, but just to help it out is you have to bring people in that know those professions.
Absolutely.
To do courses. Because like I said, I don't think a regular teacher is going to be able to teach certain things like that. They can guess with it, but when you get into certain businesses, you need the professionals to be able to come in and really be able to explain it to kids that they understand it. So you have to start bringing people in, but at the same time, you can't take somebody that's a professional at something like that, bring them in and say, hey, I want you to be a teacher because you're like, okay, how much does teachers get paid? 50 grand a year? Oh, really? No, I'm not doing it because I can flip one house and make that. So I'm not going to do it. But I can come in as a portion of what you guys have and I can teach this aspect of something new for the kids. Teach different trades for kids. And I think that's important. I think all those different trades is where we're kind of missing out. You get it a little bit when you're in college because like I said, in college, they don't have to do a full-time deal. A lot of professors come there that already have businesses and they come just to teach these little aspects because like even in politics, like you have poli-sci and different classes like that, you have actual politicians that come to school and teach different aspects of it. They learn different because college is different. But I'm talking about just like K through 12. Is like we're missing out a lot of that because we can't teach it. So we have to be able to work with the parents so the parents can be able to understand it so they can pass it on to their kids. Financial literacy is not an easy thing. My sister...
But you're starting to sound like a little bit, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm not trying to take a dig at all. I'm just simply saying you're starting to sound like an Instagram influencer. Look, why would a teacher want to make $50,000 or $60,000 a year when I could just buy a house and flip it? You forget all the risk there is in buying a house and turning around and trying to flip it. If they end up putting too much money in, or there's found something in the house that they didn't realize was, the foundation was cracked,
yes,
or there's concrete in the pipes. That all of a sudden that house was a loss.
Sure.
It wasn't profit.
And that's why I'm saying that you need the professional to be able to teach them, not a regular teacher, because a teacher will not know that. That's what I'm saying. It's very important to get somebody that actually does that business or does.
But that's my
trade.
original argument with this whole thing when it started was that we need to change the structure and stop letting our schools off the hook. Educate our kids in all different types of things, whether it's acting coach. Like, let me give an example. Walnut Grove here has a actual studio setup where kids come in. You have a camera person. They have a full production unit there, so kids can learn how to be the camera guy, how to be the producer, how to be the writer, how to be the person on the analyst, and they can actually start working to call the games, basketball games, football games, volleyball games. They call those games live. And then that gets transmitted into their school studio that people can actually tune in and watch on the app or on a TV or whatever it is, like on their app. So they can perform in front of a green screen with all these people learning how to do their job.
Who's teaching them?
Teachers.
Teachers are teaching them how to do that?
That's my point. My point is, why can we do it? Why can we do something like that it really comes down to the school and what they're willing to do. Here in Prosper, we pay a lot of money because the property tax is a little bit higher here than most of Texas.
Yeah. Who taught the teachers how to do that?
I'm sure they went to school for it. Colleges, that's what they do, Bobby.
No.
Yes, you
Absolutely.
can take an acting school. You can take a production class. You can take classes where you learn how to be photography, camera. Mr. Peter, you have a microphone now. Speak up, my man.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Did you learn that in school, or did you learn that afterwards by people that were actually implementing?
Well, he's
it and
almost
doing
60, so they didn't even have camera
Back
works
in
back
my
then.
day.
It was still the roll camera one,
See,
right?
we
Like
used
this.
Yeah. Stay
Black and
still
white.
for 5
Color
minutes.
wasn't introduced yet.
Color wasn't in yet,
it.
right?
And it's great because look, if you go through all that, so in WWE, I see the production side of it, and there's so much going on with production. If you try to do that in school, and I sat there and watched it, I'd be like, man, you're missing so much continuity. The people that are great, so Peter's great at what he does, but he knows so much that you're not even going to be able to touch the surface of how to do it right by just having a blanket, somebody that knows a little bit about this, knows a little bit about this.
But he's doing it because this is what he's decided on. He wanted to make his career. So
Sure.
he's just all in. Look, what did the first day him and I kind of got hooked up and started doing the whole Adobe, the Adobe Pro. And this dude's on there editing our video. Kid you not. I felt like I was watching something like
Magic.
out of the Matrix. Like his fingers moving, like moving this. And you watch me do it. It's like, okay, wait, what if I touch this button? Oh wait, undo that. Okay, touch this, undo that. Like he's put his work in on his own outside. Okay. But I mean, there's still people that have showed him, teachers that have showed him how to do this.
Okay.
ahead.
So on that spot, I learned most of everything from YouTube
Got it.
University. So it's from people like Bobby's saying, from people that have done it,
Okay.
that understand
Like
it and
Bobby
know it.
said.
But
there are people that have gone to film school and stuff like that, have gotten out, and they said there's no point of me doing that. Now, there are certain things in the film school that you will learn specifics, but that's also from, again, professionals that have done it, that have come. I think some of the stuff that y'all are talking about are like, back in my day, like my high school coach would sub in for math, and stuff like that. And I think those teachers are provided curriculums.
Because you were still doing 2 + 2 in high school, buddy.
We were.
That's why high school
No,
coach
but
jump
you-
in.
We
You know
had
what?
the little abacus, but so I think y'all are kind of saying the same things where he is saying take it upon yourself to kind of do these things because he knows that schools aren't doing that now, and you're saying
I'm saying you're still going to have to do it outside on your own. That was never the argument. The argument is I'm saying that you want the parents to kind of take control and teach their kids outside. They will do that. But I'm also saying I don't want to let our schools off the hook on doing what they were meant to do. That was to educate our kids, whether it was wood shop classes, they don't have anymore. Okay. Like mechanic shop, they don't have anymore. This was all in high school. All gone.
I took wood shop and
All
mechanics.
gone now. They're not there anymore.
But I'm terrible at all those.
I can understand that.
because it was just here's what we do. It's what all I'm saying is like you can't just touch the surface on a whole bunch of things and say here. It's hard to be able to understand that when you touch the surface. Now all I'm saying is that I look at school and I'm looking at for what it is, and for what it is to me is I want my kids to learn how to think, and that's what school is teaching them how to do. Now, once we take further, once we want to go further, we have to do like when he's talking about YouTube or something like that, you have to do something further. And I think it's parents that can help their kids implement it or make it make sense. I don't want my kid learning a real estate class from a teacher that doesn't do real estate. I'm like, let's scratch that.
Can I
Teach
ask
them
you? Can I ask you a question? Why not have him start it at a young age and start getting their mind into it, and then whatever the teacher shows them, and they can come back and ask you questions. You're talking 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, freshman year or something. Like they're not going to get into real estate, like is in terms of running the day-to-day stuff until after they're out of college, or maybe right out of high school if that's what they're going to do. Okay, like,
doing it. Yes.
But why not have somebody give them a different perspective than your perspective? What if that teacher had a different way of doing it that was successful for them and not for you? It really comes down to the financial means when you're talking real estate. Look, like I said, the influencer take for me is what I'm getting from you is just buy. I'm like you hear
No.
Grant Cardone. Hey, buy 30
absolute-
doors
no,
and just
absolutely
flip
not.
them. Okay, where do I get the money for the 30 doors? Take a loan against the $2 million house you have.
No.
Like I don't have that.
No. That's besides it because I put in two people that are good friends of mine into real estate, and they had no idea how to do it, and they were like, "I
But
don't
did they
even
have
know.
money?
I don't even know how to start." That's what she did. She said, "I don't even know how to start." So what I did is I explained to her how she can how she can take out a loan and be able to mix it with me. I said because the course that I teach and I help out with coaching and the real estate and stuff like that, I say that there's a different position everywhere in real estate that can get you into real estate. The first one was my godson. He works for me. He didn't have any money. So I said, what you're going to do is you're going to be ground. So you're going to go, you're going to have to make sure everything. So he's basically coordinating the whole position. And then he makes a percentage off of that. So for people that are making money, I said, this is what you can do. I have several people that want to get into real estate. They just don't have the time to do it. So if you work them and you can get them, you can build up money here. And once you get this certain amount of money, which is a down payment that what he needs, then he can do different ways of jumping into it, maybe taking out different loans that they have for first-time home buyers.
But they're working for you or they're working for a company?
Who?
Whoever, like you said, your
My
nephew.
godson?
Yeah.
He was working for me.
Okay. But so you're paying them.
But I'm paying him for the project. So I'm saying other people that want to get into it, they have money. Like what I was doing is I was building a concierge service for a lot of athletes and a lot of wrestlers that wanted to get into real estate, but they just don't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, here, you can be the guy that teaches them. So you're learning it from me. So you're basically, when I link you up with somebody, they want to get into something, you can research the property for them. You can go and find the people to fix it. And then you can be the liaison through here and you're going to get paid a percentage. Once you make this amount of money for a down
property
payment.
man. So he's a property manager.
No,
basically.
a
He's
property
running-
manager is afterwards. So I'm putting them to, because I don't want him to stay as a property manager. Once he gets it all set up for them, they buy it. He gets a percentage off the top. Then he links them up with the property manager, and the property manager just does that stuff, and he just keeps going. So now he's built it up. So now he's looking to buy his first house. So it's a step process because what so many people get is like, I can't do that because I don't have a lot of money. That's not the case, and it's learned behavior. You got to learn how to be able to get to that point. It's not one of the influencers say go and do that because I never follow those guys. And that's the one. And I always tell people don't follow them. Bigger Pockets and all these other ones. It's unrealistic what they're doing. You can't get into it that way. But there's a way that you can get into it because I got into it. I was buying $40,000 houses and then turning a profit from it and being able to build up from there. It's something that I learned because I went through it. And I was going with people that actually knew how to do it. Somebody that took my hand and walked me through it. So I'm saying, as parents, we have to be able to learn these because certain people do not know how to do it. Even when I went with film, when I talk about with film, when I went into WWE and we have all these people working with different film, I learned so many more things that I wouldn't have been able to learn in just school. Like what he was talking about when guys go to film school, they get out of it and then they have all this kind of knowledge, but then when they get in there, they're like, whoa, this is like, I have to almost start
all
over.
That being said, maybe some of these things shouldn't be taught in school.
Right. That's it, because that's what I'm saying.
But
It's
then
for
you
the
can't
parents.
blame the school to say, well, you're not teaching my kid how to
I agree.
get into real
No,
estate.
no,
well,
I'm not-
you can
I'm not-
specialize in that, and that's what.
I agree. I said the schools are only responsible for teaching my kid how to think.
Right.
Because that's all I expect from them. And the social aspect and different things like that. I cannot expect the schools to teach my kid how to run a business.
And
or
my
how to do
argument
this
is
and how
that you
to do
need to
that.
expect more for your money that you're paying in taxes from these schools. That's my argument. Like it has nothing to do with that parents shouldn't be accountable for their own children. I agree 100%. I think it's actually even more beneficial for the parents to be more hands-on with their kids outside of school. 100%. It's no different than when you get your kid. Like my son's excelled so much more in lacrosse because I spend an extra 2 days a week, like literally like 30, 40 minutes with him. He's way better because of it.
Yeah.
Just throwing the ball around.
My niece, she's a teacher. And what she's having to do stuff on the outside. So we're expecting our teachers that are getting paid $40,000 and $50,000 a year to do more. She's like, I'm tapped out. I have all these kids. I have a huge curriculum of things that I have to teach these kids. And on top of that, you're expecting more out of me. I understand you're paying taxes, but my salary, my paycheck says that I can barely pay my damn bills.
Yeah.
So
I think, but I
Are you
also
not
think
satisfied with?
I actually really do like the schools here. But we moved out of a state where I was paying a lot of money for the school system there, and I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but I was sending them to private school just to get that education. I'm saying that we've gotten away from, and you were like, oh, well, wood shop class and mechanic shop and home ec. Well, I've got 2 friends that are actually cooks now because they started doing home ec in high school. And I know and they're both guys. They're both chefs now in Portland, Oregon, both of them. And so they're doing really well. Restaurants are thriving, whatever it is. But that little influence of, I'm not saying they need to be teaching them world-class, kitchenery or whatever it's called.
Introduce them to it.
Yeah, they just got to introduce them to see if that's something they like. Woodshop class, okay? These are all things that we've taken out of our schools. Electrical work, mechanics. These are things that could potentially get these kids back into wanting to work with their hands and not just be on the phone all day.
You have to specialize in that though. Like,
Yeah, you
but
can't have a
this is
teacher
something
teach
to
them.
introduce them, like he was saying.
You got to
Introduce
bring
them to
somebody
something.
in
for sure.
that's
But,
doing
but
this.
again, that's what is the expectation of going on? I know you're saying it's to learn how to learn and to get exposed to things that interest you, and then you can fine tune from there.
Right.
On your own outside of school. Hey, I just graduated high school. I'm going into carpentry school or electrical school, right?
Yeah. I think it's hard because and this is not for you, but it could be for anyone. And a lot of people are like this because when I had this conversation with P about it, it was the teacher, they're supposed to teach them at school. And I was like, no. They can't. They can't. You can't expect them to be able to completely educate your kids. I believe, and I stick with it because, like, me and my ex is on my kids about their grades, about everything. She's like, boom, got to get this, got to get that. And when I go through, I see their grades. I'm like, all right, cool. Naomi has all A's. I'm like, you know what? That's great. I'm awesome. I think it's awesome. And then we went through some of her stuff. So she's like in Spanish too, when she's doing all this Spanish stuff, and she's going through it. And I was like, hey, call up your grandma and your grandpa and talk to them in Spanish. And she was like, I can't speak Spanish. I was like, you've been taking Spanish in school for years. And all we're doing is like, this word means this and this word means this, but they're not teaching them how to speak Spanish. They're just teaching them how this word means this. So they're not so much, they don't know how to like most people that went through Spanish, went through most languages through school, when they get out of it, they can't speak it at all. But they're able to like, okay, I learned that and I took Spanish 1, 2, 3, 4, French 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're not actually learning it. So that's the same thing as the teacher comes through and it's like, I'm going to teach you business, but then they really don't know how to teach it to the point where the kids can actually implement it. They're just like, all right, here, and then it's gone. So I think that it's better just to teach them how to think, and then you can bring these professionals in as workshops and different things like that so they can be able to help the students and really learn, because you can't keep expecting more and more and more and more for our teachers because our teachers aren't getting paid to be able to do all that.
If I'm teaching them business at school and they come home, whatever business experience your parents have, they can work with them through like, hey, look, we own a small business, or this is how when I go to work, this is what I do. This is how we're structuring our sales pitch, whatever it is that they're doing. When you're talking about languages, if the kids have no one to speak Spanish to when they get home, they're not learning.
Right.
So when we had this conversation before about like one of the goals I want to do with my wife and the 2 kids is I want to take either Spanish or Chinese or something together, because then we can just speak it within the house,
right,
and it makes it easier for your kids to learn. But your daughter is not coming home and speaking to you in Spanish because you don't know how to speak Spanish.
But
that makes it more difficult for her to learn.
And everybody else in the family that she can speak to, that she talks to.
Well, maybe
but it goes back to what I said.
It goes back to her having to do it, though.
It goes back to she's not going to learn that in school. She's not gonna learn how to speak Spanish in school.
Yes, she is. She can, if she has a couple words, then she has to do is just call her grandparents and say, hey, these are the words I learned today. How would I put this together? And try to talk to her that way.
She's learning outside.
But she's never going to learn outside if she doesn't actually get in touch with someone that speaks Spanish. Come on, do your part. Learn how to speak Spanish.
And I'm busy. I was going out to Japan for so long that I jumped in and I started like trying to pick up Japanese. And I was like, no, because I was going there for a couple of years, like every other month. So I was trying to learn Japanese because Japanese seemed like an easier language to learn. Because I was, it kind of is.
Than
It's-
Spanish?
I mean, a lot of the people that I know that have picked it up, they like Bob Sapp, he's damn near, he's fluent. Josh Barnett, a lot of those guys. But we were going there often. I wasn't going to any Spanish speaking countries for a while. So that's why I tried to jump into it. But it was jumping around. It wasn't something that I was able to do. I'm not, I can't do that. But
It's hard to learn it when you're 50.
it's a constant here. It's
Look,
a constant here.
I think the
So you're gonna try to learn Spanish?
no, I want to try to learn Chinese,
Okay,
which is going to be more difficult.
Yeah.
But yes, but I mean Spanish or Chinese, one of the two.
You know, they say you know what the hardest language to learn is?
Probably English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Probably is.
Because American.
Yeah. But we speak that in our house every day.
So
you
that's
have
what I
to
was
you
going
have
back
to
with.
speak it to your daughter.
Yes, that's
So
my whole point.
so do your part and learn.
Parents, yes,
Yes. So go take a class.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying from the beginning. It's like we are responsible for teaching our
but-
kids.
no, I'm
We
pushing
can't
it
have
back
on the
on
school.
you. I'm pushing it back
all
on
for
you.
it.
Go do
I'm
it.
all. I'm going
So by
to
next week, I want a full sentence out of you.
Yes.
next
see.
week.
SOCKS.
I'll give you 2 weeks because it's Thanksgiving week.
SOCKS.
I'll give you 2 weeks.
That's what it is. I'm all for it. I just believe that I'm taking some of the burden off of the schools because I think a lot of times we hammer the schools, and schools, one teacher teaching 100 kids a day is not realistic. She's able to get a framework and to be able to help these kids learn how to think by way of English, or learn how to think by way of math, or learn how to think by way of science and different things like that. It's like, I'm going to give you this knowledge, we're going to discuss it, and then afterwards I'm going to give you a test to see if you retain this knowledge.
I think we're on the.
And then afterwards, if you don't retain, because that's all it is, it's just teaching your brain how to think. I said outside of that, I think all I'm saying is that I like more interaction with the parents, and some of these skills that we want to pass on, we have to pass it on from the parents to the kids. And that part of education is very important. That's why Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's that the book that he was talking about, and he talked about how there's certain things that certain people can't teach you, and there's certain things that you have to go and find somebody to teach. That's why in the schools, I think instead of bringing our teachers or pushing our teachers to be able to do it, get some professionals to come around, and instead of giving more money, give more time. Like I went over and had a conversation with the kids at my daughter's school 2 weeks ago, and I got all these cards back. They all wrote, "Thank you," because I gave them something else to think about. And that's all it is just giving them something else to think about. And can I be a teacher? I think I have basic knowledge to be able to teach most classes out there, but I think that my knowledge that I can pass on to them as far as business and everything like that I pass on to my kids, like I'm very confident in what my kids can be able to do outside of like sports, outside of everything else. My son knows more about houses than anyone. Any business that I get into, he jumps in there and he's like, what does this make sense? Like even our green light, in his green light, I can pull his green light right now and his investment accounts, because I can put money into investment accounts, and he picks the stocks. And he talks to me, he's like, what should I invest in now, Dad? I'm like, well, what do you guys use? And we have those kind of conversations. That's not what he's going to get from a teacher that has no money in the stock market. So he has to learn what to invest in. So then I start teaching him that. I'm like, well, what do you use right now? Where do you think we're going? Okay, we came out of the pandemic. We're going into here. What do you think is going to start opening up? And that's how he started investing. So we have those kind of talks. His investment account's up 30-something%. I can go to Charles Schwab.
The election just
Schwab
happened.
Club is like 15%.
The election just happened. Calm down.
What's that?
The election just happened. Calm down. 30. He's up 30%.
No, it was
Calm
it was
down.
the whole
Calm
time.
down.
I can pull up his stuff the
Dial it
whole
back,
time.
dial it back.
No, he's been up considerably his
Don't
entire
try and
time.
take credit for your son's ability to pick good stocks, okay?
No,
he's probably
he
picked like
understands
Nerf
it.
and-
I am explaining to
He
him.
picked a
when you-
Lego,
when you
Nerf,
go. No, even you know what?
Sony,
You know,
like all things that are easy to invest in.
No, this is what he did. Also, when
He went straight to Bitcoin.
When we were going through the elections, he was like, what should I invest in? I said, depending on who wins, you got to look at what they are pushing and what their agenda is, and invest in the things that they want to push, because that's where you're going to be able to earn the most money. So that's what he did. He was like, oh, when he wins, I'm going to shift things over to here. They understand that, but they wouldn't have understood that if they were just sitting back saying, like, half the population is like, shit, the person that I wanted to win didn't win, so I'm mad and I'm going to be upset. I was like, no, just shift your investments to what that person is going for, because that's what I did before.
Look, we're on the same page in terms
No,
of
we're
parents
not.
should do more work at home with their kids. That was never the argument.
Yeah.
And you're saying that basically that teachers are not teaching them really anything except just to be learners. And you're okay with that. And I'm not okay with that. And that's where I think we need to, I want to shift the focus and conversation to, is what can we do to make our schools better at what they're doing? And I'm not blaming the teachers. The teachers are given structure on how they need to, what they need to get throughout a school year. They have to teach them this, and this
Right.
by quarter one, this, and this by quarter two, and so on. It's not the teacher's fault at all. I'm not blaming the teachers. I'm above that. This is a educational system throughout our country needs to be fixed.
Right.
100% it needs to be fixed. But how can we fix that? And that's where I'm leaning more towards solutions while you're over here just complaining.
No,
I'm
no,
trying
I'm
to,
not.
You're trying to say
not.
parents need to do more at home. And I'm like, I agree with you. That was never the argument. Let's not complain about the teachers who are being overworked.
What's
That's
the solution?
one. The solution is to bring in more activities that will incorporate bringing in more teachers that are, whether they're professionals or not, whether they are professionals or not. That's not what we're trying to find. Like you said, we're trying to get them to learn the basics of whatever it is, business, real estate, whatever.
What do you want your kids, when your kids graduate? What do you want them?
I'm not choosing
to get
anything
from
for my
school?
kids.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, what do you want them to be able to get from
Can
school?
I ask you a question? Are they graduating from high school or
High
college?
school.
Did you know what you wanted to do when you came out of high school?
No.
Then why am I putting that on my kids?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not
All I want
putting it
them
on
to do
my
is
kids.
learn how to be able to think.
But
and
I
that's
also,
what they learn.
Yes, but I also want them to have I want them to have a good understanding of everything that they possibly can learn, whether it's wood shop, whether it's mechanic school, whether it's being a producer, whether it's being a analyst, whatever it is.
That's
I want
a
them
lot.
to have touched their toe in every single thing they can. Soccer, lacrosse. You know what? You want to try out for cross country? Go have at it. Like getting more experience when you're putting together your college application. When you're putting together that application, it's like they want to see how much time did you donate to your shelter? How much time did you put in your community? Not just your grades, even though the grades is a big portion of it. They want to know how many other things you were active in to better this human society. Am I right? That's what I want.
I don't think so.
Well-rounded.
Yes, exactly. Well-rounded is the word I was looking for. I couldn't find because of my schooling, probably.
We keep going with this well-rounded thing, and I don't think it's I don't believe it.
I
don't
believe
believe it.
well-roundedness
jack of a
coming
whole bunch
out.
of traits is
I believe
not
well-roundedness coming out of high school.
Correct.
At 18
Well-rounded.
years old, you need to be well-rounded because
Yeah,
you need to be able
yes.
to experiment in everything
Then
to
you
see which
focus.
direction. Then you focus.
But are you getting that from school? And then you're saying that we need to get
Getting-
it from school, but how do we get a lot of those things from school? Like
You change the educational structure. That's what you change.
but how do you
bring in?
How do you
What-
change it?
You bring in. You bring in teachers that are good at teaching about whether it's real estate, whether it's banking, whether it's stock market, financial advising for stock market, whatever it is. I don't know crap about the stock market. I ask every person I possibly can, I have no clue, man. Not a clue. I've got a little bit of money in stock, but even Rich and I were talking. I'm like, hey man, are you involved in the stock market? It's like, I got a little bit here and there. We talk about it and we're both like, yeah, I just leave it there, man. Like I'm in certain stuff and I'm like, and once I put it in, I'm like, just tune it out. Don't even remember that it's there. Because otherwise, if I keep going back and forth, looking at it, it's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to pull it out. I just can't see that. Like, even if it's just $2,000, I'm like, that's $2,000 I could do something with. Like, it just drives me nuts just sitting there. Like, those are things, though, that I think if you bring people in to teach our high school kids how to dabble in the stock market, and maybe, like I said, with this school Alpha, if they, let's just say they have a class that teaches them how to be in the stock market. The school together says, this is what we're gonna invest in. We're gonna invest in, let's say we'll pick 3 of them. Let's pick Raytheon, let's pick Nvidia, let's pick Tesla. Now we're gonna invest in those 3 companies and let's just watch as it goes. Let's put 1,000 here. Let's put 5,000 here. Let's put 2,000 there, whatever it is. And let's see which one do we have more confidence in, given the structure of what the layout is in politics. Well, I mean, as of right now, probably Raytheon would be a good one to invest in. Would I not be correct, since we're almost at World War III? But that might be something you invest in. So you said change the structure in which you invest. This president is here and this politician is here and this is who we should probably invest in. And then if someone else comes in, which will happen in January, maybe we change that investment then to someone else, because I'm just going with the way that the political structure is. Correct?
Yes. But
why can't we have that in our schools?
Well, what I'm saying is like, and I'm gonna say this calmly so I can be able to understand it. The teachers can't teach that. Just like you said.
No, I'm saying bring in teachers. That's my point.
You're talking about bringing professionals, not bringing teachers.
People that dabble in it don't have to be professionals. Just because you're a professional doesn't mean that you were successful in doing it.
But you can't learn from the people that failed at it. You have to learn from the people that succeeded at it, because if
like I said, how many coaches were ever national or state champion? How many high school coaches? How many college coaches were national champs?
That's wrestling, or that's whatever. But I'm saying, would you go to Charles Schwab?
I love you, Bobby.
Would you go to Charles Schwab and give them $250,000 of your own money when they have failed at it? Do you ask them how your portfolios have done? You want to see that they're successful, right?
Not portfolio, the person that handles your money or the company in general?
The people that they handle, like their clients. You can ask their clients. You can say, I want to see performance of this plan that you're going to put me in. You can see, I want to see the performance of it. I want to see the year performance. I want to do the long-term performance. I look at all of that. And I'm not going to say, oh, well, damn, you are a CPA or you are a broker, so I got to listen to you, even though you have failed. No, you're going to say, I want to put my money with somebody that shows and proves success. Wouldn't you? You're not, sports are different, because sports are completely different, because my college coach was not somebody that was successful, but he brought successful people in there, and he brought us in a room with a lot of successful people, and
you know how many people that I knew that even now that they were super successful in the real estate market, extremely, worth probably close to $1 billion, ended up in the 2008 crash, almost lost everything.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay,
but that's having the pandemic during something.
No, but
things are going to happen. I'm simply
saying though, is that look, just because something like that happens to you doesn't mean that you're not that you're still not successful. It's you can still be educated by someone who has a mishap or somebody that just has bad luck. Let's be honest. The stock market is literally like playing poker.
It is. But the better ones can know how to adjust and make shifts and make changes for the stock market. I'm telling you, at the 2008, when everything crashed, there's a lot of people lost money, right? Tons of money, right? Whenever people lose money, people gain money. And if you have a good guy that's around that knows or can follow the charts and make shifts to be able to get you back in the good place, then those are the people that you want to go with. It's a learning curve. There's people that know what they're doing, and there's people that just go out there and do it. Just like real estate agents. There are real estate agents. There's like thousands of real estate agents. And I've dealt with some that are very good, and I've dealt with some that just have the damn degree. I don't want to work with the people that have the degree, because they don't know what the hell they're doing. But the people that actually go out there and they're like, I know. So when we walk into houses, they're like, do you like the house? Whatever. And then people go and buy it, and then you buy a bad house. You buy it upside down. You don't buy it right. But if you have somebody that knows the markets, they come in there and they're like, well, this house in this neighborhood and this, and they start giving you all that different knowledge. Then you're like, whoa, this is completely different from somebody that just came out there and says, I have a degree. And if we have our kids get taught by somebody that just has a degree or just knows how to do it, did it, but they're failed at it, that's not the people that I want. So when I'm saying, if we're trying to get people to teach our kids at a high level these different trades, it has to be somebody that has a little bit of success in it, so they know what the pitfalls are, and it's not just, here's how you do it. And that's hard. Because if you do that, it's
think-
very
okay,
expensive
Let's
to be able to
see.
get.
So you have the oldest kid here, right?
Yes.
Miles.
No, Kyra.
Well,
yeah.
Kyra's 20.
Let's just use Miles as the example.
At 15.
Yeah. So he's a sophomore.
Yes.
We know he has a passion for cooking.
Yep.
He has interest in investing
Yes.
and real estate
Yes.
from you, right? Exposed
Yes.
to those things from you.
Not cooking, but yeah, just investing. Yeah.
In cooking from his mom.
So in the next couple years, he may hone in on one of those things, right?
Yes.
Say, Dad, I want to learn. I really love cooking. I want to be a chef. So after high school, you'll probably look into culinary school.
No, right now he's going to do an internship with one of the chefs over at Darna.
Okay.
That's like a real high level chef, and he's going to teach him a lot more. With
But
it.
he'll know, he'll probably, so you're saying he won't need to go to culinary school, or eventually, like if after high school, he's like, Dad, I want to keep this going.
He can. He doesn't have to, because one of the guys, Chef Benjamin, that came over to the house, that is like a big time chef right now. He came in there, met Miles. He wants to work with Miles also. He didn't go to culinary school.
Okay.
And he's
So you
he's
just get
pretty
into
big
it,
deal.
just start
Yeah,
learning
once-
under somebody, so you don't have to go to school for
Under
that.
YouTube University.
It's not YouTube University. It's not YouTube University.
Influencer University.
Okay, Peter learned to YouTube University.
And I-
Thank you, Peter, for doing this for
yes,
us
yes.
and putting this together
No,
for us.
but-
Although you don't have real knowledge because you have YouTube University, we like what you do for us.
Appreciate
So-
it today.
So if we're going that route, he wouldn't need to go to school potentially. He would just need to work under and learn under.
Yeah,
You start at the bottom, right?
sure.
Right. But that's his path towards
Prep
being
cook.
an expert in that.
If he
in that
wanted to,
field,
yes.
If he wanted to. Now, let's say he wants to go the real estate route,
Right.
and he's done with high school, and he's like, all right, Dad, now what? I want to really get into real estate.
He's gonna, and then I'll be his mentor.
Would you still push him to college and do both? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I want him to go to college, and I already told my kids this. I want them to go to college. Even my daughter, like my daughter's going through college right now. If I won the lottery today and was able to give her $20 million, I would still want her to finish college.
And what is she studying?
She studied digital marketing.
Okay. And did she develop a passion for that in high school, or
No.
did you influence that at all?
No, we had a conversation of what she wanted to do afterwards, and she had to really look at where our society's going, and she wanted to go into like a marketing kind of deal, and then she just kind of put it together. She was like, well, based on the way things are going, everything's kind of digital. So she had to sit down and think what is more beneficial for her career moving forward, the way things are changing, and to keep up with what's going on. And she had, I talked to her a little bit about it, and then I tried to find somebody that was in that space to be able to talk to her. And she has a mentor out there, a girl that worked for me that was in that space.
Are you happy with her high school experience, like what she got out of high school?
No,
Well, she's not in high school yet. She's in eighth grade.
no, my oldest, she's
No,
in
oldest.
college.
Oldest.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And she like her grades were okay. She didn't really get anything.
Where did she
like,
go to high school? Was this in Colorado?
in Colorado Springs at Rampart. She
Okay,
was,
note to self: don't go send kids.
But
to
you
school.
weren't
no,
happy.
Colorado schools are phenomenal.
Wink,
Look,
wink.
check them out. Their rankings. If you look at their rankings, they're like when my kids came over here, they were like, "This is easy."
But you,
because
you
Colorado.
weren't, but you weren't happy with her particular school or her path in high school.
No, I mean, I was fine with it. I just didn't put too much weight in it. Like, I was like, she's going there because if she gets the basic, like, knowledge to be able to, like, move on and the ability to learn when she gets into college, that's all I want from it. I'm not looking at her saying she needs to be ready for the world coming out of high school. I'm like, no, because you're not going to. At best, you're going to have the ability to learn something that's going to be able to help you in college. You're not going to go, no one is going to leave high school and be able to go into a career field and be able to like flourish unless they find a trait and they work
Unless you're
under
LeBron
somebody to be able to
James,
do it.
but that's
Or
another
unless
story.
you can dunk a basketball and you're 7 foot tall.
I mean, Mark Zuckerberg left early out of college. Like, didn't even get through. I think,
he
year
got
two.
mentored along the way. all the way around. Yes, read a story.
You didn't
yes.
see the social network or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
He did it all on his own.
They were in college
Just
and they
stealing
were
ideas left and right.
and they were learning.
I
yes.
asked because I want to learn from, because you have the oldest
Yes.
of this group. You know, you're a little bit ahead of us, and I'm just curious because
what I have with my kids right now, and I've already talked to them about it. We've been really open about this. I said, look, when you guys get out, when Kyra gets out, right now, one of my houses is hers. And she looked and she went through it. And the reason why what it was is she helped me go through the process of building.
You want to leave the Corvette in the
and put it
garage for
there.
her too?
No,
Just throwing that out
no.
there.
I'm putting her like that because I want her to be able, because like what we want to do is we don't want to have our kids start over every time, right? We want to put our kids in a position where they can move forward. So I'm not going to just dump a whole bunch of money in her hands. But what she did is when I went through, she helped me break this house down. She helped me go through the process of putting it together. So she knows everything about this house. We have somebody in that house right now. That person pays me, okay? And my daughter is under my salary. So I pay her because, you know, there's certain people. So she helps me with social media influence and everything like that. So she's on salary, right? So the money that she's getting from there, she keeps in an account. So she essentially is going to buy this house from me. She's not going to buy it for the full price, but she's going to buy it from me. And she's going to learn how this, because she's going to have some money set aside, and she's going to learn how she has a renter in here. You're going to get money every month. And then she's going to have to keep track of that. So when she gets out of school, she's going to have to keep track of it. It's like passing on a business. It's not just passing on something.
Does the house
it's
sit
a
in
business.
a trust?
Yes. Yeah. Everything. And then now when I move it over to her, she's going to understand that part of it also.
Right. Yeah.
Why
So-
don't I just have her? Why don't you just put her on title and just have her start taking over all the payments and everything else instead of doing this complicated thing back and forth?
No,
she's gonna have to.
she
If she
is.
buys
She
it
is.
from you, she's gonna have to pay tax on it.
She is. She's gonna completely no, because the way that we have it set up is like she's going to buy it from me. So there's a transition, okay, and then after that she's gonna take on. There's no real debt to it because the house is paid off. But
But if she
she's
buys
gonna-
it from you, she'll have to pay the tax, and then they'll reassess the tax
based
to
on what she paid,
Yes.
and it's gonna be a very small amount.
So you're gonna kill the market in your community. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck? You just lowered our housing market cost by selling it to your
It's
daughter for dirt cheap."
It's a low income place. There's houses that are being sold at.
I know, but I'm saying you could
little
just
or nothing.
add her on to the title, and then
Okay,
just
then.
have her take over the payments, so you don't have to reassess the property value.
There's no payments, but I'll do that.
God.
I'll get it over to her. However it goes, she's gonna have it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna be renting it out. She's gonna have to. So if anything goes down with it, she's gonna learn how to be able to budget. Now she can do
Is
whatever else
she's
she
not
does.
gonna live in it?
No.
Okay.
No, she's gonna do whatever else she does, but she's gonna start that and she's gonna understand that because I think real estate is very important for people across the board because I think you can do whatever you want. I always tell my kids, I want you to be able to do what you want for passion. I want you to be passionate about that, not doing something for money. So I said, there's ways to be able to make money on the side and then do what you're passionate about. Now, what you're passionate about may be the thing that makes you money. Like if you really enjoy going into the real estate market, then you can stay in there. But I'm going to give you a boost and I'm going to show you how, and I'm going to be able to get you into that. And that's what that's what's important for me. So like right now, my son has so much passion in making it to NFL, but I'm showing him that I don't want him have like fallback plans because if you have fallback plans, you will fall back. But I want him to be able to learn other things that he can be able to do, not as a just in case, but other means. If he makes it to NFL, I still want him to do real estate because I think it's very important. I think very important for people to have that way of putting money into something that's just going to give you mailbox money that you can do for the rest of your life.
Yeah, real estate's something you can always just do on the side.
Yeah.
Get your real
And
estate license. You can handle 1 or 2 loans if you do loans, or you can handle 1 or 2 sales on a house. A year, that'd be great. You don't need to dedicate 100% of your time.
But if
and
you want to, you
focus on-
can.
You can, yeah, absolutely, you can. So
Yeah. And then outside of that, we started working with this developer. So he comes right alongside with me just so he can learn the process from somebody that is at a very high level, even what I don't know. He's coming along, he's learning all this stuff. He's just sitting back, just fly on the wall.
And he
asks
genuinely
questions.
into it, huh?
Yeah.
That's great.
And then other things, anytime when I get into stuff, I talk to my kids. I'm like, hey, look, because just recently I got into oil and gas. I know nothing about it. But the guy that I found is like like a little Rain Man, like a little genius when it goes to oil and gas. So we sit there and we talk about it, and then he sits down, he's looking at it and understanding it
never
also.
told us about
Crypto,
Yeah,
all kinds
I
of
get
stuff. I told you
never
guys about
told
all
us
these
about
guys, but this is what I was telling you because I had when I was having an argument about MVP, I was telling him, I was like, because he was like, he doesn't want to learn. I said, I've been talking to you about real estate this whole
I
time.
don't remember him ever mentioning.
I mean, I've been over here learning on YouTube University.
I
and this guy-
introduced you to this guy at my party, the one that came, the other one that didn't
The,
come.
the,
I'm not even
developer,
talking about. Yes,
I, met the developer.
Royce.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So I was introducing people because I was like, these are the people that I do business with, and these are the people that I work with. So I'm like, hey, if you want to learn something about this, here's your guy.
I guess, look, we've beaten this this dead horse with the stick for long enough. I guess the last thing I want, because it is Thanksgiving week, the last thing I wanted to wrap up on was just real quick. What does Thanksgiving mean to you?
It's for me, it's family time. It's taking a break from everything that everybody's doing. I've been busy with my job. My sisters are in different states. It's just a time for us to all come together and break bread, you know. And we love to be able to, everybody cook something and everybody's just talking, catching up, seeing family and spending that time together.
It's not complicated at all.
Nope. Very easy.
What about you?
Just a moment to reflect. Just be thankful. I try to be thankful every day. I know it's very cliche, but you know, I guess we just emphasize it more. We have a little more time. No school this week. Not going anywhere. Enjoying that. Just being home. Just very simple. Just enjoying the family. No running around. No crazy expectations. No, that Christmas brings. Like I said earlier, I actually don't like Christmas because of all those things that come with it.
The stress comes with it.
That's right. Yeah. So this is just pure. This is my favorite holiday, man. So I'm really, really pumped.
It's the sit around, relax, eat as much as you can, watch football.
Yeah.
And just turn the fire on if you have a fireplace and just chill.
Exactly. Just something simple, fun, pure. And then after this week, then it's going to get crazy. And then the stress and anxiety will come with the holidays. So
yeah, I don't really think of like what my favorite holiday is. I mean, Thanksgiving's obviously up there, I think, because of the food.
Yeah,
That's
man, we
one,
just eat and watch football.
We eat and watch football and just chill. But I think for me, what I've learned, I think over the last probably, I don't know, since I had my daughter, was Thanksgiving to me is about being present and just being right there, whether football's on or not, remembering that football is on, but then also too, hey, let's get a board game out. Let's play Sorry. Let's play Monopoly. Teach your kids, how to handle money. Bobby. Teach them how to buy some properties, teach them how to sell the properties, that type of stuff. But look, a great experience, getting down and just having Pac-Man competitions,
you finally can use your Pac-Man machine.
Yeah.
That
Do you guys have
never
good board
use.
games that you guys like to play?
So for us right now, it's Sorry and Monopoly. Monopoly is just so long. It's such a long game. So by about hour 4, the kids are like, all right, we've bought everything. They only like it when they're really crushing us, the parents. Like, oh, I own your house. Oh, I own this. I own the hotel. It's like they love that portion of it all. But but one always wants to stop because they're not doing as well as the other when that one happens. So it's like, no, okay, I'm done. I'm tired. But it's about being present to me. Is trying to, like you said, is we're not going anywhere. I'm not driving back to California. I'm not flying to California. I'm not driving from house to house. Like even when I was in California, I'd drive from house to house to house because I see my aunts over here, the ones that didn't get along with the aunts over here, or the uncles over here. And so I'm just kind of like trying to get the whole family together. You try to fit them all in. Well, living here in Texas, I don't have to do that. So it's just about being present. I'll see you tomorrow.
I got to work.
I'll see
I
you
have to
tomorrow.
work.
But it's about
You
being
got the
present.
invite though, right?
Yes, I think
He always
so.
gets invited.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
I get the invites, but I got to work. I'm the only one that actually works around here.
I think
He just got a job like 2 weeks ago.
I think to wrap this up though is I think from the Dad Dojo and Mr. Peter behind us, all of us here, we want to just wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and hopefully you guys enjoy your time with your family and friends and everyone you hold dear to your hearts.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.